sir. Launch yourself at unsuspecting strangers and hit however many people you can. And just when you think you're done, explosion! Hitting random debris such as chairs, tables, etc. will also cause explosions. Get your hands on the early access version of Launch the Hipster today, only from Mad Hen Games, a subsidiary of the Mad Hen House.
Okay. Let's start this over again. Welcome, game developers. That sucks. OBS, you suck, man. Anyway, this is a holiday-themed tutorial. Ugh, I'm having so much bad luck. Now, originally this was supposed to be a 12 days of tutorials bit. However, because of my old laptop basically crapping the bed, I fell far behind schedule, so this is just going to be a bunch of tutorials. Now, please like, comment, and subscribe. Obviously, that will help me a ton. Thank you in advance. But these tutorials, they're quick and dirty, and they're not interconnected in any way. And this is not in any way, shape, or form connected to the main tutorial series that I have up and running. So, what we're going to do is we're going to clone the Ripper gun from Dead Space. So the reason why you saw that there is when I was filming this, because I don't have Debut, I don't have Bandicam anymore. They're on my old hardware, and my old hardware, yeah, that thing's going to die soon. OBS doesn't capture the different windows unless I specify it. And even then, I think it only captures camera stuffs. In any case, I don't want to keep I'll look more into OBS on my own time. Anyway, so let's get started with cloning this Ripper gun. I'm going to right click. I'm going to hit Blueprint Class. I'm going to go to Actor, and I'm just going to call this Ripper Gun Projectile. And if you're wondering what GameBP is, I just right clicked in my content browser and hit New Folder and just named it GameBP. So I'm going to go into my Ripper gun. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a static mesh. And I'm just going to call this Ripper Blader. Now I'm going to go into the static mesh view where it says none. I'm just going to type in Taurus, T-O-R. I'm going to get that. And now I'm going to rescale it to 0.25 by 0.25 by 0.1. So it kind of looks like a Ripper-ish gun, or Ripper saw blade-ish thing. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to element, where it says element 0, M basic wall. I'm going to click on that and just type in steel. And I'm going to grab M underscore metal underscore steel. That way it looks a little bit more dankish and rustic. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a projectile movement component. Now, this projectile movement component, you have to do a bunch of things. First and foremost, let's have its initial and max speed be at 5,000. I'm going to tick rotation follows velocity. I'm going to make sure that the gravity scale is set to 0. If you want to have it bouncing, you can. I mean, I don't really care about those. But the most important thing you want to make sure is unchecked is auto activate. Excuse me. We don't want it to auto activate. So I'm just going to uncheck that. So that way the projectile component doesn't even act. Because there are two fires modes when it comes to the Ripper gun. First is when it stays X amount of distance in front of the player, and then the alternate fire is when it just shoots out. So, to ensure that this thing doesn't stay alive forever, we are going to go into its class defaults up here, and I'm going to go to the search details in the top right, and I'm just going to type in life. As you can see, the initial lifespan is set to 0. That means it lives infinitely. We don't want that. I'm just going to type in 3 for 3 seconds. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into our static mesh itself, the Ripper Blader. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to say simulation generates hit events. Why? Because just in case if it hits something, it kills itself, essentially. So we're done with this. We can compile. Let me see if I saved it. Okay, so if you can compile and save. If you want to compile and save at once, just click on this drop-down menu, save on compile, click always. And that thing is a time saver and a half. So I'm going to close this out. But we're not done here. The next thing we need to do is we need to go into our third person. See, how the Ripper gun works is that it attaches itself onto a component. We need to attach this so that way it follows the player around. How do we do that, you might be asking? Well, I'm going to go to the third person character. I'm going to hit Control B as in Bravo because I'm using the third person template. And I'm going to go into my third person character. Now, the thing is, we need to use the skeletal mesh itself. There are other ways you can go get around it, but like this way works perfectly fine for me. So I'm gonna click on mesh, and I'm gonna double click to where and see where it says mesh, skeletal mesh here. Just double click on the thumbnail, and it'll take you directly to the skeletal mesh. But we need to go into the mesh's skeleton itself. So if we do that, if we say go to skeleton, we need to add a socket to a bone to attach the Taurus to. Let me see what's a good one. Spine 2, spine 1, spine 3. Yeah, spine 3. I'll do spine 3. So, with spine 3, what we need to right-click on spine 3. And when we right-click it, you'll see a thing that says Add Socket. We want to click on that. Now, spine 3 socket is now set. We can name, but I don't want to call it spine 3 socket. I want to call it something else. I'll just call this where it says under socket parameters on the top right. I'm going to double click and I'm going to rename this to Ripper Socket. Alright? But the Ripper socket is where the spine's location is. That's bad. We don't want we don't want a Ripper spawning inside of us. So we want to drag this out a bit. Now, you could be asking yourself, hey, Doug, what the hell will this thing look like? Because, you made that thing. You made the blueprint. Well, here's the thing. We can't add blueprints to preview it, but what we can do is we can add the preview mesh itself. To do that, we want to right-click on Ripper socket, right? We want to add a preview asset. We're going to look for Taurus, the shape Taurus. We're going to click on that. And look at that. We have that thing. That thing looks ugly AF because it's so big. However, what we can do is we can rotate it 90 degrees. And let's see where we can scale it. It said 0.25 by 0.25 by 0.1. 0.1. There we go. So that's what it'll look like in-game. Hey, Doug, I don't like the way we have to... Do we have to keep rescaling it over and over and over like that? No, we can... Here's a better way. If you guys want to know how to, like... Let's say you imported a mesh and it's nowhere near to your liking in terms of scale. What we can do at that point is we can go to the actual shape itself. I'm going to go into content. I'm going to type in Taurus, and we double click on this. What we can do is actually, I think if we go into the search details and type in scale, we see build scale. Say 0.25 by 0.25 by 0.1, I think. And, shit. We go, like I said, damn, because, again, OBS doesn't do multiple windows. Anyway, so, like I said, if we go into the details panel of our static mesh preview and type in scale, 0.25 by 0.25 by 0.1, and we save it down, we close. Would you like to apply level of detail changes to shape Taurus? Click yes. And look at that, it automatically resizes for us. But we have to go back into our Ripper gun, Ripper gun BP, because now this is actually infinitely smaller, as you can see, because we scaled it. So now we have to type in 1 by 1 by 1, and we're back to we're back to what we had it before. Okay, but Doug, I want to see what it looks like when it's actually, like, I don't know, holding a gun. I have the animation myself, and I don't need you to do the tutorial on how to. And I just want to see what it looks like previewing, without actually having to do it in the third-person character. Well, if that's the case, then what you can do is, on the top right where you see Preview Scene Settings, right, where it says Preview Controller under Default, you want to click on Use Specific Animation. And under Animation, if you have like a firing idle or something like that, you just type in idle, right? And we'll just use third-person idle, and that's what it'll look like in during said animation. Doug, that looks ugly. I do not care. This is just I'm just showing you how to clone the Ripper gun. I don't need to. I'm not looking for top-notch realism or any of that. Fair enough, but you've been ignoring me. Fuck you. Anyway, so we're done here. Sort of. What we have to do now is actually spawn this thing. To do that, we close out of this, we close out of this, we close out of this, we right-click, and we go into our third-person blueprint. We right-click. I'm just going to type in left mouse button, right? On, oh shit, what the fuck did I call? I shouldn't have closed out of that. Why is that? Because I need the Ripper socket name. Anyway, so first things first, we need to go back into our third-person character, and we want to get socket. Wow, socket transform. But we need the socket transform for our mesh. Why? Because the mesh itself is the character, and we added that socket to our skeletal mesh. So we get the socket transform. It says in socket name. We have our socket name, Ripper socket. Under details, I'm just gonna Control C and Control copy and paste it into our socket name. I said Control V. Damn it! Wow. And then we drag out our return value and spawn actor from class. Well, what are we spawning? Well, we're spawning the Ripper gun projectile. Pressed. We say it's on pressed. However, it is important to note that we are not done here. We need to actually attach this to our Ripper socket. Currently, it's just spawning there. And we don't want it to just spawn there. We want it to attach to that socket and follow us around. So, that said, what we can do, and you don't, I'm just gonna do this as well, because this is just me. This is just me being really careful. We drag out the return value and we type in promote to variable, right? And we call this. I'm just gonna call this Ripper ref. You don't technically need to do this portion. In fact, you could just skip and just say attach. But I just like doing this because it's just I'm being like really paranoid. So anyway, we take this return value, right? We attach, but we want to attach to a component, and the target is the Ripper reference, right? The parent is gonna be our mesh. But what's the socket name? Well, we have the socket name. It's the Ripper socket. So what we could do is just say get socket bone name, and then we just say Ripper socket. So we drag this out and plop this in, right? So we compile and we play. It's not spawning. Why is it not spawning? I wonder. Keep relative. Mouse button. Let's go here. That has to be on the safe side. I'm going to scale this up. I wonder. Maybe it is spawning and it's just String. Let me see if it's actually running. Yep, it's running. Yeah. Recording again. Alright. Wow, did you fix it? Yes, I did. Okay, so here's what I did wrong. Essentially, let me get rid of that. Essentially, we use attach to component. You have to keep the world for location, rotation, and scale rule. Other than that, but there's something you should know. So if we click, hey, look, it's there. What the hell's going on? Now, one of the reasons why that happens is actually because we are colliding with it. So first things first, I'm going to scale this back down to 1, 1, 1. So I'm going to do that right now. 1, 1, 1. So if I compile and play this, yay! Now it's in front of us. So if you're wondering why we were moving back, it's because of this. This thing has collision, and the collision, well, it's killing us. So in order, if we don't want it, if we won't want it to actually collide with us, there's a way we can do that. We can actually just ignore, like we can go here and custom, and we can just ignore the pawn. Because that's what the is that what the player character is? Yes, essentially that's a pawn. So if you compile this, we're done here. However, well, not necessarily. See, the thing is, we want to also give it a projectile movement. So we right-click and we just give it a custom event. This is I'm gonna call this alt fire. So what we do is we take the projectile movement component. We just drag this out and we type in activate. If we want, we can reset it. I mean, I'm fine with just this being this. Why do we need to activate it? Well, because in here, we can just right click and then we just type in right mouse button. We take this batch, except for you, and we control W to duplicate this here. We take the pressed, we plug it into there, and then on return value, we just type in alt fire. Why? Because this is actually taking in that class, and it's wondering, and because it's taking in that class, it has all the functionality of said class. So it's looking for alt fire now. So if we play this, and we just bam, and bam, and bam. Why is it stationary? That is a good question, and I knew it. Oh, you you put its initial and max speed back down to 0? It was an accident. So if we compile this again and play, hey look, it's staying there. Pew! Pew! Why is that happening? Well, it's because of the collision. So, why is that happening? That can happen. So, why is that happening? Let's go to third-person character. It's because of this. Why? It's because of that. So, what we can do is we just take this out, right? Well, we can do two things. Let's instead of socket location, let's get the socket transform. Get socket transform. It's looking for name, and I can't do that. Oh wow! Let's copy this and let's paste it in. Plug this in. Otherwise, now that Now that can happen. Okay, so why is that happening? Essentially, what you have to do is you have to rotate that thing 90 degrees. You have to rotate it 90 degrees. How do we do that? Well, there are two ways we can do that. Well, actually, one way. We get socket location. and then we get socket rotation, and plug that in, and we say make transform. But for the rotation, what we want to do is we want to right click on rotation, split struct pin, and do the same thing with get socket rotation. Right click that return value, split struct pin, plug X into X, Y into Y, but Z, you have to actually either add or subtract 90 to it. Just type in 90, see if that'll work any. Plug that in, take the return value, plug that into here, and then Alt, and then, yeah. Okay, so that's not it. So let's try negative 90. Minus float. I said minus float. No, not. Float minus float. Thank you. 90. It's still not working. It is and it isn't. See, the thing is, because it's still... One of the reasons why it is and isn't working is because of this. Because block all dynamic is actually, even though it's ignoring us, keep in mind it's bouncing off. It's still bouncing off of us. So what you're gonna have to do is essentially, fuck. You can play, essentially what you're going to have to do is play around with it. Another thing that you can do, if you don't want to use the sockets, you can straight up use a billboard. So we just get a billboard, and we name this billboard whatever the hell we want. I'm just going to plug it up to plop it here. I say get billboard, and then from there we get not actor, world location, get world rotation, and then we make transform. We should still have to do that math bit. I'm just going to double check to see if that's the case. Nope. Oh, look at that. It works. Yeah. Well, this time that's because we're using a billboard instead of a thing. Why isn't the whatchamacallit dying? Well, let's find out. Well, one thing we could always do is just on begin play. Because I don't feel like going. Let me check on its initial lifespan. Oh, I thought I put it on. I thought I set that thing to 3. Huh. Let's put it on 1. If you don't wanna go into like the class defaults for whatever reason, just you can always go on begin play. Just say like 0.5 after 0.5 seconds. Destroy the actor. Destroy actor. Let's go here. And there you have it. There is your little Ripper gun of Doom. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you must. And yeah, I will see you all later. Happy Monday when this is going out. What other tutorial are you gonna do? Next one I'll try to do it's either how I made Launch the Hipster or Fly Like Goku. Oh, that's nice. See ya.